in the frame? Where the bloody hell am I? It must be technical problems. Yes. I think everything's working. Is everything working? Well, before we begin, let's make sure everything's working. I'll just tune in here so I can do things, see things, know things. All right. I should have clicked this. Yes, there's a thumping noise. Here we are. Alrighty. I think everything seems to be working. Yes, it's working. Oh, oh, there it is. Okay. Whew. Sorry, there's so many distractions and random things happening that I am confused. Check a mic check. Are you over there? Are you in there? You know, the beginning is always so weird. So, where is everybody? All right, there we are. 30 live human beings. This is a growler of IPA. This is a mug with a Runehammer etched into it by hand by an awesome viewer. I was looking through Facebook for like half an hour trying to figure out his name because it was months ago. Facebook is not very good for looking into the past. You're scrolling. You're scrolling. You're scrolling. Wow, this mug is huge. It's like more than half the growler. Yes. God, look at that. It's beautiful. All right. So I hope everyone has their cold beverage ready to go. And you can all join me here. And we'll dive into this business. Enough synth pads. I don't need this quite yet because there's a tale to tell before we get into the Q's and into the A's. So thanks for tuning in, guys. All you bizarro early birds showing up in the chat long before the transmission commences. I salute you. Welcome everybody to Runehammer. I can now say that with absolute certainty. I raise my mug of cold golden business to you all. Why, that's delicious. Before we go any further, let's just make up for that little deficit, shall we? Oh, look at that. Look at those lovely bubbles. All right, why are we here? Just so we can sit here and watch me drink beer? Sort of, yeah. No, we're here because the fracas. The debacle. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to burp anymore, right? That's the popular opinion. No burping. Burping's for 7-year-olds. That's what I've been told. In the early days of Alfheim, when only recently the empire of snake men had fallen, there were very few of us. Around fires huddled we. There was no Gar, no towers of grey, no Norberg near the wall of Blackwave, no eardrum carved beneath Kinder. And yet, folks speak of those old times as if they were magical. But times were hard back then, and lean. But still, since there were so few, the friendships formed were formed forever. And it's no different with Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons began as a tidal wave of enthusiasm between me and about 6 friends. And we had finished a campaign about a year or maybe 2 years earlier and had been on hiatus. No D&D, like 2 years or so. And then I got a copy of The Burning Wheel from my good buddy Zach Arnston. And when I read The Burning Wheel, it all came crashing back. Why the hell have we been on this hiatus? I need to play some D&D right now. And then I thought to myself, you know what we could also do is drink a bunch. Now, that's what we had always done when we played D&D. But this time around, for some reason, it felt like an epiphany, right? So then we were getting the session together. And that's when I found out about my good friend Travis's YouTube channel called Cult Moo. Now, Cult Moo was doing really well. It's still doing really well. They have more than 100,000 subscribers. They film every weekend. They do crazy food challenges and drinking challenges and late night cooking while they're just, wasted and vaporized alcohol and all this madness, right? And that was the model that I understood of like what you do on YouTube, right? You do these kind of like funny, excessive kind of things. And I thought, well, I can do funny and excessive things. And we had this D&D session coming up, and it's just, man, the roads, they came together, and to make the syllables work properly, Drunkards and Dragons was born. The first few sessions that we filmed, we mainly time-lapsed them. We didn't talk into the camera or really have any engagement at all. It was just, we had cameras up on these bookshelves, and we filmed a session of D&D. Now, really all it looks like is a bunch of dudes sitting in the dark by candlelight, getting wasted, and then someone like falls off their chair, and like then we get back up and back to the dry erase mat, and it was just it was very hard to see even what the hell we were doing, but to us it was really funny. Anyways, then that evolved, and you guys who were there at the very, very beginning, I'm talking before I even had 100 subs, you know what I'm talking about the dwarven asshole and the light up table. That light up table video that I made that light up table for that first session that we played. So those roads of learning about YouTube, learning about like excessive drinking on YouTube, getting psyched to renew our D&D group and expand that group with some new members and all these forces, then the Burning Wheel, and it all was converging like that. And this is a while before 5th edition too. That is where the name Drunkards and Dragons was born. Okay, so there you have the first little piece of history. And a lot of you were there at that beginning, right? And God bless you. Odin watches over you. Lord, that's golden. Whew. Tastes like the Kinder Peaks in spring. Anyways, so that's the beginning. Now there's another piece, which is that I started having fun talking directly to you guys, to the audience, which always that's felt like a weird word to me. More like talking to sort of kindred spirits, to talking to other people out there who were having beer, playing D&D, but, kind of loose with it, not fully understanding everything about it, but that was not slowing them down. Those were my people, right? And I felt this connection, and I started filming by myself, to the camera, and then thinking, there are messages here. Maybe I can sort of be the Tony Robbins of D&D, right? That could have been like another channel name. Drunkens and Robbins. I don't know. And so then that started to gain more momentum. And actually, to my total surprise, I developed a rapport with you guys, with viewers. I don't want to call it audience, and I sure as hell hate the word fans, but more like friends and viewers, right? They're people who were going through what I was going through, and the rapport developed. And it wasn't one way. I was filming, lots of emails and messages were coming in, and it started to become a thing. It wasn't just a gag anymore. And it was a thing. And I actually still, at that point, and this is about when 5e was coming out, had no idea where this was headed. It was just something to do. It was just kind of a funny thing. There's actually some discarded early Drunkards and Dragons videos where we're playing World of Warcraft and like smoking e-cigarettes and like getting drunk on like Schlitz and stuff just as a gag, and like playing Warcraft and acting all silly and stuff. It just goes to show how far that spectrum really spread. And so then more time passed, and the closer I get to now, the more the story's going to sound familiar, right? Which is like, I started not only wanting to play because I was in a few groups, and I was playing online a little bit, and like even traveling to go play a little bit, and like my own group, the campaign got really huge, and like everything was really working, and then the craft explosion happened when I discovered Scotty, and like then I started finding more YouTubers who were into D&D, and then I discovered Dungeon World, which kind of blew my brain apart. And then I remembered, man, I've been writing my own RPG for so long, and Dungeon World kind of is something like it, and the indie world is there. And then I discovered Drive-Thru RPG, which is like PDF heaven. And I know that maybe I'm a latecomer to some of these things, but you guys know how it is when you discover something for the first time. It doesn't matter how long it's been around. For you, it's that epiphany in that moment. So that's how things began to evolve. Then things took an exponential acceleration. So I would say somewhere after 10,000 subs, it started to really become more of a juggernaut. It was feeding itself. It was generating its own interest. There were some videos that, to my bafflement, were getting lots more views, and views by people from random places that were coming to join the sort of the tribe or the fellowship, right? And that was really surprising. And then I was like, well, man, this is getting more and more fun. And I realized that the whole room design thing, it accessed a bunch of the work that I've been doing for almost 30 years, but congealed into an extremely dense and deliverable form that I think people were having fun with. Then I saw everybody playing Moloch and all this stuff. Okay, now I don't have to belabor you with the details, because a lot of you watching, if not every single one of you, know the recent history of Drunkards and Dragons. So that brings us to tonight. The reason we are lifting this hand-etched tankard, the reason you're all out there drinking. I saw someone was having Top Cutter. That's one of my top 5 beers of all time. This is a Breakside IPA right here, and it's hoppy. Oh boy. Let me just fix this deficit. So then, something that actually predated Drunkards and Dragons began to affix itself, and that is the Runehammer. Now, I've had the tattoo of the logo that is now the Runehammer logo for many years before Drunkards and Dragons ever began, and I had a thing going called Runehammer that never fully formed that I always wanted to really create. The Daring and the Doomed was one of the first things that I really planted my flag and said, I'm Runehammer. Then as ICRPGs started to come out, and I've started to do commission work for people, which is super duper fun. And thank you everyone out there who has been offering me commission work. It's so fun to do, and I appreciate it greatly. It's killer. And then you've got like the novel thing and all this. And I don't want to present it like it's industry, but the term Runehammer began to grip. It began to sink its claws into the smaller entity, which was Drunkards and Dragons. Drunkards and Dragons was a fleeting thing. I had never heard those two words together before 2.5, 3 years ago, right? But Runehammer had been in my life for a long time. And then I started to realize if I'm going to make a website, or if I'm going to be like, referred to or known, I don't want to be known in this derivative kind of funny way, which is like Drunkards and Dragons is basically saying, I'm drunk, but I play D&D, which is true, but that isn't who I am. I mean, then there's a final piece, and this to me is the most important piece. Is in the beginning, that name was just meant as a funny gag. And I think when you're in the back room drinking with your homies, funny gags are great. But becoming publicly available, more and more so, to sort of make funny gags on other people's hard work, I don't find cool. I find it to be dishonorable. And so I don't like doing things that are dishonorable. So the final question became, well, man, this could be terribly unwise. But change is what defines growth. And usually the only reason to really resist inevitable change is fear. And I refuse to fear. So I knew that the change had to happen. And then once I knew it, I had to execute it immediately. Before any further growth could happen. Before, another one that kind of blew my mind was working on Harbinger for Absolute Tabletop. I noticed that Matt Click credited me. He said, art by Drunkards and Dragons. That did not feel good to me. That doesn't feel like me. That feels like a joke about Wizards of the Coast. And I don't want to joke about them. I can critique them, but they're one of the hugest pillars that holds the foundation of our hobby up. I don't want to fund them. Here's another piece. There's another YouTube channel out there called Drunks and Dragons, and they have like hundreds of live game podcasts, and they predate me by years. I don't like that. I don't want to be derivative of them, and I don't want to even get close to what they have as a more established brand. So the reasons kept piling and piling, and then once I knew it in my heart, I said, well, if this causes confusion or causes disappointment, or maybe I'm going to lose viewers, or maybe I'm going to lose some of my, I try to build everything on this mega honesty. If it's perceived that now I'm branding or something, like, I'm just going to have to eat those risks because I got to do it. I'm also, you guys know me, I have this strong belief in the concept of Mjolnir, of the Runehammer, as a symbol of the link between gods and men, and how we are immortal and how gods are tied to us and they're mortal in a way. And thinking about that concept makes you more and makes them closer. And that's good. That's good for everybody. It's the demythification of the mythic, the revealing of all the secrets, because there are none. That's what I think the hammer represents. And so the more I thought about the sublime elements of it, the nuance, and then the much more mundane and boring sort of branding elements, it became inevitable. And if you know something has to be done and you don't do it, that's just fear. So if you know you gotta do something, do it. there's the old Tony Robbins coming out right there. Okay? So that is, I hope, will answer everyone's questions, because I'm sure you guys realize, like, I've gotten so many questions in the last 2 days about, what happened, is it over, kind of a thing. It's totally not over, and that's one of the reasons I want to sit and nobody goes home until this growler is empty, because way back in the beginning I had a growler by myself while I reviewed the 5e DMG. It's sort of a travesty of a video, but it's kind of funny, I don't know, but same thing tonight. And already, wow, yes, drinking a growler by yourself is remarkable. Mainly because you're just drinking beer. Man, you can really taste the monkey meat. So I hope that answers everyone's questions. Why? Why are you changing the name? I liked that name. That's what a lot of people told me. That name is cool. What are you doing? The name Drunken and Dragons, just like that early time in Alfheim, will live on forever in our memories and, of course, on YouTube. And the people who showed up in that early period, I owe you guys the whole mess. I mean, it's kind of like the early patrons that I have on Patreon. I hope that I'm successful enough that in a year I can look back and be like, man, those first 50 people that showed up on Patreon, those people really believed. And yes, it doesn't make them any better than anyone else, but we will look back on the beginning with fondness. Always the beginning is good to look back on. Reminiscing about the root of a thing is a good behavior, a good habit. It's part of storytelling. It's part of remembering who you are and how you got there. And I got here because of you guys and because of Drunkens and Dragons. That will never be forgotten. But what it became will be recognized as Runehammer. And I am really proud and really comfortable with that. Not just, I'm a D&D beer drinking ripoff channel. No, I'm more than that. So then we get to the what next question, right? And this is really what I wanted to get on camera tonight and drink and tell everybody face to face, not in an edited way. This is me live, right? So that's the history of how the change happened. So now what? The reason I had to put in so much work before I could announce this is that I needed a video that could make a statement about what I want Runehammer to be, at least on YouTube. Now, Runehammer is something a little different on Patreon. It's audio storytelling and some RPG talk stuff. Runehammer is a little bit different as a publisher, right? Because I do index card RPG and novels and stuff. But on YouTube, now I'm seeing finally this identity. And the way that I'm seeing it is because of you guys. The response to concepts like room design, like dungeon building, like key mechanics. That response does not happen to sort of squirrely sort of rant videos or gag videos or any of this kind of peripheral stuff. I mean, people get a kick out of it. But the room design concept, the concept of I sat down, I thought about a thing, I went home and damn it, I built it and it's ready to get to the table. That has stuck so much harder to the wall than everything else. I started seeing that as the essence of what Runehammer is. And if you guys have seen the little vignettes, and I have several more that I haven't revealed yet, but the little vignette that shows the hammer in the little room, right, with the little miniature torches and the camera's kind of panning in, to me that captures where I'm headed. I want to totally embrace this and think with the camera more in here. Think with what's in here. And you know, it's how you feel when you play at a really well-built table with a great game night with your friends who are really into it that night and the DM is on fire and like the dice are hot. Your mind is down in here. And human eyes are so much better than a camera that you can get down in there without having to put your face in the board. I mean, it's kind of cool if you do, but you can see all this stuff that a camera really has a very hard time seeing. And so that's what I want to master. I want to reveal what's down in there and get that camera in there so you can feel those moments that usually are reserved for people at the table. And unfortunately, because of the the finiteness of life, we can't all play together. It's not going to happen. Now, as maybe more con attendance happens in the next year, maybe we can all meet up at cons and play. But I hope you guys see what I mean. So Runehammer on YouTube becomes this dungeon building, room design, key mechanics juggernaut that focuses on building. It focuses on miniature art, on terrain, on mechanics, and on actual playable content. This is the thing I see missing from almost every other YouTube channel. Where's the playable content? Like where I actually can watch it, take a couple notes, and then go play it. That's what I want to offer more than anything else. Like literally, you get a source book by watching the channel. That's what I really want. So if you're playing Rangers of Nymedia, or if you're playing Moloch, Black Ocean, or if you're playing Duke Harold, right? You get the next module in the form of a video. And it's detailed enough and thorough enough that you can build it or play it Theater of the Mind or play it on a dry erase mat, whatever the hell, play it out of your notebook like a couple nights later with your group. I want to be that voice. Whew. And you guys know that that's always been where I stand, is like specificity is the of being a dungeon master and of being an RPG creator. Not talking about tips. Like I'm really kind of a little bit saturated on tips of like, you know, how to do this better or tips. But content you can play. Oh man. And if you guys can link here in the comments other places that you know of where that's happening. I know that Esper the Bard used to do it. His videos have trailed off now and again. But he had playable content. That's all I can think of. So I think you guys know what I mean. I don't have to go bonkers about it. People are... I can see comments scrolling by way over on that monitor over there. I'm sure people are saying, too late, you already went bonkers. But before I open up my laptop so that we can get into Q&A, I wanted to get all this off my chest. You know, it's a little, it's wild sort of dungeon mastering for thousands of people, which to me, what I do feels like that quite often, is there's so many questions and threads of thought about this could happen, that could happen. I have a character, I have a group, I have this, I have that, I'm building this isn't working, this is working, I have these, and look at my new dice, and check this out, and the other night, and all this is happening. And then my job, it seems, is to process it into what comes next. Something new to spin it again, right? I mean, that's a pretty kick-ass job to be doing. So yeah, there's other stuff to do. There's some commissions to do in the meanwhile. And like, I have to work on Index Card. Like there's a book coming out for Index Card RPG, and there's other stuff going on. But as far as the channel goes, that's my role. That's what I do. And it feels a lot like that feeling. Well, last week, man, we just had a huge battle in that big open field. So I think this week we need to go into some tunnels and do some traps and like some little poison needle kind of stuff. Yeah, because it'll be totally different. Everyone has had that thought as a dungeon master, and that's exactly how I want to think about Runehammer. So there you go. How we got here, where it began, where that name came from, where the new name came from, how I made the decision, and now what's in store. You know, I keep having the Agnar that DM Scotty made for me because it's one of my favorite pieces. It's brilliantly made, and also I'm sure the camera can't capture it, but it's just brilliant in its detail and its color and everything. It's just fantastic. I want to know what to do with that in my game, because you guys can then do it in your game. Whether you use like a paper cutout of an Agnar, or you make your own Agnar, or you do it Theater of the Mind. But there's something there, and that's what I want to do. I'm losing interest in tips, like I said, and rants. Was that whole thing? Does that count? No, that's not a rant. A rant is like a diatribe. A rant is way too many sentences on too small a topic, and usually with like a pejorative tone. I'm going to drink this for a second. That's one thing I noticed in my old videos. I would just cut and it would say, hang on, drinking, and I would just show it. Just minutes and minutes of it. Oh my God, there's so much beer. Let me just fix this deficit. Oh, good grief. Yeah, you know, right in the beginning where you're like, oh, that whole growler almost went in that mug. No, it's a complete illusion. There's a ton of beer in there. Okay. That is my whole thing. There you go. I hope that answers everyone's questions, and more importantly, I hope that it forges this fellowship and this partnership that we've already been building together, and makes it stronger, not weaker, because of this so-called change. There's really no change happening. It's just I am saying to the world, this is my identity, and it's not a derivative identity, okay? Bah! There you go. All right, moving on past all that crap. Now we're just going to drink beer, and I'm going to answer some questions. So I'm going to open this arcane tablet here. I just can't take my eyes off this massive, giant purple worm thing. It's just so amazing. And if you're wondering what all this incredible terrain is here, I hope you're wondering that. You don't get to know, not yet. It's upcoming. But there are huge things happening. Huge things happening. Oh, also, I just got my latest RPG crate, so I was going to pop that open on the stream tonight. And I think RPG crate is really cool on the first one you get. And now we're going to find out, is it cool with the second one? Because that really is the question, right? I mean, it's a subscription, right? So the idea is that it's cool every time. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out live. So you know that it's uncut and it's real. Now, I got to send my props out to RPG Crate. Thank you, guys. They send me this thing every month with no strings attached. I'm not obligated to say I like anything they're sending me. But they just wanted, you know, whatever positive things I may or may not have to say to find their way to you guys. So we're going to pop open the dungeon crate. It's right over there. But first, what the hell is going on? This whole time I'm just seeing things sliding by. There's still 30 some of you hanging out. Good to have all you guys. That's a big group, man. We would need a big table for that. You imagine a night of D&D with 36 freaking people? That'd be insane. Really, it's a lot of people for Friday night. It's absolutely awesome. Normally you do these things on a weeknight when people are much more bored. And I'm looking into a better stream solution like Adam Coble uses so that we can have upvoted questions and questions that get stacked and all that stuff, and we can do questions properly. So I'm trying to technologically catch up. I love the way Adam Coble does his streams. I don't know where he gets this technical knowledge he has, but he kills it. So hopefully we'll kind of get it like that. I've been struggling with being I get too hung up on things. Yeah, I missed your name. It just went by, but a huge part of doing this whole thing is to not get hung up on anything that is that related. That's why I don't like the word audience, because if you think the word audience, then you start hesitating. And well, what do they want? They want the same thing you want. They're you. They're people that are just as smart and just as complicated, just as busy and just as kick-ass as you. They're not an audience. And so I think thinking of an audience can definitely hinder you as a creative person. The best way to think of it is they're friends. They're here because they're your friends. Now, friendships in this modern world of ours take a lot of different forms. So hopefully that can help you with finding your creative core. Saturday morning, high five. The mug rocks. Thanks, Bung. Joel, props. One of your greatest contributions is the community's help break down presumed or inferred barriers. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out, Joel. Thank you for pointing that out. That is my prime directive. That is my number one goal, is to demythify this damn game. And you know what? I hate to say this, but it's true. I went to get the facts at Gen Con, right? One of the facts I gathered at Gen Con I did not want to be real, but it is real, is that gloating on how to play is a core part of the hobby. I'm sorry, but I could feel it in the air. You don't know what you're doing, and that feels good to the person saying it, is part of tabletop RPGs. There it is. It doesn't have to be part of tabletop RPGs for us. All right? So the more that this hobby becomes popular for the moment, which is just really weird and disorienting to me, but in a way awesome, I hope that that begins to disappear. So far, I don't see it disappearing. So I hope we see a day that that is no longer part of it. But, you know, if you show up with a brand new skateboard at the skate park, you generally get a lot of love. And it's like, hey, man, yeah, you should, you know, try an ollie and stuff. If you don't know what you're doing with RPGs and show up and you kind of maybe are playing with strangers, because a lot of people have to do that in the beginning, you can get some weird attitudes about being surprised that you don't know things. Not cool. We are going to abolish that lifestyle. Now, maybe we're not going to make a huge difference and change the whole hobby, but right here among us, there's no secrets, there's no gloating, and no one's better than anyone else. All right? So thanks for pointing that out. I take pride in that, and I hope we accomplish that goal. It's an ongoing goal. Well done, Hankerin. Good luck going forth with the Runehammer name. Skål! Snot Smasher said the secret word. To the Danes. If they're telling you how to play, they don't understand gaming. Amen. All DM Facebook group is aggravating. Oh, yeah, Jesse Akins. Jesse Akins. Sorry, don't even go near that stuff. That stuff's crazy. It's just like Reddit D&D is a cesspool of human rage. It's just horrible. I got a SNES Classic. Nice, dude. You got that Super Metroid, though. Love the name change. Anvil for Life. Stormblood X. Thanks. I love your name, dude. That's a very good Halo name. If I wanted to send you beer, then you guys can send beer. I do have a P.O. box that people can send, and it's probably okay to say it on YouTube. It's P.O. Box 253, Monroe, Washington, 98272. That is my anonymous P.O. box. I actually live in Argentina. Reddit, everything is a cesspool. Kung Fu Space Barbarian. Oh, hey, Space Barbarian, what's up, dude? That is true. That is true. It's self-selecting for that kind of I'm safe behind my keyboard mentality. Oh, boy. Sorry. Oh, 7 years old. That's me. So, man, I really appreciate you guys like hollering about the hell yeah. I really do. What remains unanswered? Or what remains undiscovered? What haven't we delved into that we should delve into? Like, what more is wanted? Are the live play sessions useful at all for the channel? Like, if I play online, you know, playing Harbinger or ICRPG or something, and we stream it, is that worthwhile at all? Because to me, like, the dungeon building type videos, the room design videos, those are the absolute freaking glowing core. Are the live play videos really something that are interesting? Sojourn says, it's still Drunkards and Dragons at heart. Amen, brother. You're one of my inspirations to start making my own RPGs. Sojourn, thank you, sir. That is a noble name you have there, too. And at Tucson Comic-Con, I'm going to be giving a whole talk about writing your own best-selling RPG. I've written RPGs since I was a kid, and it never occurred to me that I can actually do it. Are there audio podcasts, Mr. Fernell? Yes, there are. If you look right here on the right side of the stream, the Patreon link is down on the bottom, and that's where I do all my audio work. And there's storytelling in there, as well as RPG talks. Hey, Hank, does working on challenging things hurt you in any way? Whoa, man, does it hurt? That is a heavy-duty question. I mean, that cuts to a very deep core of thought that I think about a lot. Does working on challenging things hurt you? I mean, you guys have to, of course, understand that I'm a compound human being just like you are. I'm complex. I have rises and falls. I have great days and I have bad days. I have pain in my life and disappointment, and I also have frickin' triumph. And I have frustration and I have poverty, but I also have wealth, and I have good days and bad days, right? And when it comes to creativity and creative challenges, I'd have to say it's similar to life in a lot of ways. It's compound, it's complex. Sometimes, and doing the Return to Westburg video, for example, I got like 20 lines into my dry erase map, and I was just like, this is shit. This is the scale's all wrong. I don't like how it looks, and it's just like, I've forgotten how to do this. Like, I suck. And it kind of just like went outside, sat in a lawn chair, and watched the dogs poop for a while. I came back in and kind of, all right, you know what? It's gonna be cool. Just keep drawing the lines. And I think that life is a lot like that. Is you don't gotta win every damn second. What you gotta do is keep playing. Just keep going. You'll have times when you win, and you'll have times when you don't. But you have to just keep trying. So that's how it is for me doing challenging creative stuff. And I gotta admit, sometimes it's very hard to do this all day, every day. Because you guys know, I went full time with it in April. And some days it is very, very tough to make headway. Trying to support a family and stuff. So it's not like you can be like, well, I'm going to take the next week off. I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it right now. So yeah, sometimes I do think it hurts. Sometimes you do pay a little bit of a pound of flesh. But that's what's so rewarding about people responding to your artwork and to your creative work, is when they respond, they give you a little bit of that flesh back. And I think that's the relationship that we have, and that I have with all the people that message me on Facebook, that we're building campaigns together. Everyone that talks to me on Patreon about the stories that we're writing together, they give me a little bit of the blood back. So I'm happy to bleed again. Live play is fun to have in the background. That's how I am, Empire. I like it in the background too. So maybe we'll keep going. What is the meaning of life, Media Bunker? I'll tell you what the meaning of life is, Media Bunker. It's to keep on living. You don't have to live a certain way, and you don't have to find meaning. What you got to do is keep freaking going. Don't give up. That's the meaning of life. Boom. I love rune designs and dungeons, blah, blah, blah. Still look out for the Black Ocean Part 2. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I was worried that nobody really played Black Ocean with the Myconids and stuff. Because I got less photos on it than I did on the earlier Moloch junk. But yeah, I would love to continue Black Ocean, because I had a whole idea of where they were going to wind up and everything. So thanks for the comment, man. I appreciate that. I have trouble coming up with some ideas for roleplay diplomatic encounters, because I have some players that don't enjoy combat as much. Jeff Woods, man, that is a super sweeping question. Well, here's how you solve it. Don't solve it by assuming you need to do X, Y, Z. What you need is a direct feed on what they will enjoy. My guess is they don't dislike combat. My guess is there's something they want that's missing. So a lot of times, in my experience, the best role-playing or diplomatic play or voice kind of interaction happens during battle. And town gets very sedated. But maybe they're missing out on like mapping, or maybe they want clues to put together, or maybe they want an item that needs to be assembled, or maybe there's something that they assumed would be part of D&D that isn't there. So instead of saying they don't like combat, I would actively ask them, hey, what is it that you do like? What would be cool? You know, keep them after the game or meet them up in the pub. You know, be like, hey, there's too much combat in our game for you, right? I mean, you seem like you're kind of bleh. So what should we do? Don't ask me, ask them, and then just be like, oh yeah, let's lean into that. I could totally do a mystery story. Doesn't mean you need less combat. It just means you need the piece that they're missing. Oh, sorry. I missed something about, Tomb of Annihilation. What do I dislike? Well, man, are those guys doing great. The book is selling like crazy, and it's a really big book. And it just looks like a very fully realized sort of setting and adventure book. So that's really cool. I think what happened, and you must be talking about the tweet that I put up the other day, which said I'm just not curious about it. I think I have been so exposed to the sort of more DIY type culture that this sort of industrial level of production is starting to seem less interesting to me. And I have a group of friends who will remain unnamed in this video who have been playing D&D right out of the books since 5th edition began, right? Horde of the Dragon Queen, Prince of Apocalypse, Out of the Abyss, right? Storm King Thunder. And they have been extremely frustrated with it and are basically abandoning it. And they gave it the best chance it could be given. Now, does that mean that WotC is making poor material? Hell no! Their material is some of the best material you can buy for playing tabletop RPGs. Let's not be confused about our statements here. It's just the idea that playing out of a campaign book is something you want to be doing is, to me, misguided. It's very difficult to do, especially for beginners. I mean, you wind up so mired in all these details. I mean, even Phandelver is a perfect example. I was just hanging out with my homie Ben, and we were having some dim sum on Monday night, right? And he's trying to play Phandelver out of the book, and he's like, just right away, it just becomes there's too much in Phandalin, and like, and that's how I started my 5th edition campaign too. I mean, it's the box set, right? You got to play the box set. But there's just too many threads and things, and I know you're supposed to tailor it to your table, but tailoring to your table is the behavior of an advanced DM and players. So I think the idea of playing out of these big campaign books is somewhat misguided. It's still really fun to collect the books. I have nothing against WotC and making awesome books. Rock on. Everybody, a lot of people love that shit. So yes, love it. They're not wrong. Fucking have fun. For me, though, I really like to see people sitting down. It's a great, you know who's great at it is Chris Hatley. He's a guy in the ICRPG Google Plus group. He sits down in his journal and he writes like a really high, lofty title to an adventure idea. Just writes it in his journal and then realizes, I have no idea what this adventure's about. I just know it has this really bitchin' title. And then struggles through the creative work to get a little bullet list of what's going to happen like the first night and stops. That is hard enough for everyone. Much less getting this massive thing with dinosaurs and like there's a death curse and there's this whole continent and then there's turtles and this whole, how am I supposed to stitch this together? And there's like a new list of feats and there's 40 classes now and holy shit. So that's why I wound up not too curious about it. I'm more curious about what's happening in the small publishing scene. It's really fascinating to me, the little stuff that's going on. To me, it's like very close to what practicing tabletop people are really doing. Like Tal'Dorei is a perfect example. That's Matt Mercer's world. Matt Mercer didn't pick up Tomb of Annihilation and play it. He made his little world, but I don't think he planned it. That world was created by playing, just like me and you do. Do you have any new DM's homework video coming down the pipe? I really do like those videos. DM's homework videos are reading. Those are reading videos. I just sort of did one about Torchbearer and Blades, and I highly recommend those two books. You don't have to play those games. That's not the point, but the thinking in those books is fucking brilliant. So, not yet. Please realize and be patient. Thanks for the question. But it does take sometimes a month or even 2 months for me to fully research a thing to understand it. I mean, imagine getting Symbaroum in the mail and then trying to intelligently talk about it. that takes time. You can't just read it once or skim through it. You have to sit and play test it and understand it. Now, that is something I love doing. So they'll come as I can do them. Is there a Runehammer shirt? Yes. X-Storm Blood. Yes, there is. It's on Redbubble. Just go to Redbubble and look up Runehammer. There's also an Icy RPG shirt. And Redbubble, by the way, is the only place to get t-shirts. Other promotional t-shirts tend to be very bad. Like this one. I love this old Black Sabbath cover. Oh my god, I love it, but this is a crappy t-shirt. I love the Warp Shell live plays. Can we get some room design videos set in Warp Shell? CJ Mankin. Wow, thanks for the question. You guys would not believe how big the Warp Shell universe is in the second index card RPG book. I am so proud of it. There are 40 adventures. It's crazy, and it's awesome and huge, and they're all on different worlds and different time streams. And building terrain for sci-fi is not something I have fully delved into. I mean, I have pieces, I can leave them on the shelf, that I did for Viking Death Squad, but it's not something I've fully gone into. I do have Xenomorph Dead Zone that I'm working on. So I like that question. Thanks for asking. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one, if I can do some sci-fi. A Runehammer Games module. Well, Game Over Club, thanks for asking. I guess where I've put that work is into Index Card RPG. There are so many adventure hooks and so many seeds that are well thought out to be adventures. But in my opinion, written in a way that you can actually absorb. This is one of my critiques, kind of jumping ahead on RPG Crate, is they give you these one-page adventures, right? And when I first got them, I was like, oh my god, yes, finally, adventures. But there's like no paragraph breaks. They're these big, long paragraphs. I found myself getting lost in the text. So what I've tried to do with mine is write sort of bullet-style adventures that are very easy to absorb, and then you kind of fill in the blanks. Will I do a Runehammer adventure? I'm not sure. I'm working on some stuff for Roll20. I have another one called Flood of Fury that I've been kind of holding out for a long time because it's not perfect, and I just don't know. I'm going to have to table that one too. Dang, that's 2 questions now. I just lost 2 tennis balls. Just went right past me. Rub mayonnaise on my belly button. No. I love watching you draw that huge Alfheim map. It is complete, by the way, Michael Myers. What size is the canvas? Oh, it's, I don't know. At 300 DPI, it's about 60 inches by 40 inches or something. It's a real beast. Johann Bernard Wessels. I'm waiting for my Necronomicon in the mail. Excited to read Lovecraft. Oh my goodness. There are no words for what you are about to experience. No words for it. And the fact that it has become more and more pervasive in our culture only is a testament to how messed up and brilliant it really is. You should build a little village. Well, yes, I should build a little village, and I will. What else do we got? Do you know quantum physics? Well, I know alpha. I definitely know about them. When I was in college, chaos theory was really big, which was a nascent form of quantum physics. And when I was studying anthropology, I was looking for ways to apply chaos mathematic models to human movement and human settlement. And it was really interesting, but no, I don't know anything about quantum physics if you really want to pin me down. Kung Fu Space Barbarian, your adventure hooks inspire the shit out of me. Thank you, dude. Me too. They come from a lot of other people's ideas, and I just kind of try to get them all pulled together and written tightly. Will a big poster? Yes, Adramir. A big poster is going to come with worlds. That's the question. How do you instill the sense of danger so they feel threatened? Oh, the players? Maybe I missed a little piece of that from Empire Role-Playing. I'll tell you what, man. We had a funny convo about this the other night when we were eating dim sum, but Twigs was talking to my friend Ben about our campaign a couple, year ago, and she's laughing because basically every single night everything was crumbling. Like everything is always crumbling, caving in, filling with water, filling with lava. The eggs are hatching. The dragon is coming in. The zombies are rising. I take a very extreme approach to my game. Now, that doesn't mean there's no grout, that there's no social grout between the tiles, because we did all that between games on threads online. But the way that I keep the danger going, man, I take it over the top. It is a super deadly world. Everything I do in my game is double what it should be, except the players, they get half what they should get. Okay, Johan, Big H, you familiar with the following books? Writer's Journey. Oh man, I'm familiar with those, but yeah, yes. The amount of book recommendations I get is so nuts, and I'm just slowly working my way through things, so I'll get there. I feel that my players want to use charisma a lot more than I plan. How do you react to a player trying to convince the enemies to concede? I don't want to be a railroader. Whew. Remember that only intelligent and rational enemies can be persuaded. That's your first rule. You can't persuade the Agnar. Second rule, they have to have a perceivable benefit to themselves to be persuaded, other than death or deception. You can't just lie your way to an orc. It doesn't work. Also, an orc isn't intelligent enough to persuade. But, that said, if you had a player or set of players that were using charisma too much, I'm not sure I see the problem. What's wrong with that? Maybe it's because the results of successful charisma checks in your game are binary. Maybe that's what's wrong. So whereas combat, right, you have to do damage. You're gone. You're gone, right? Whereas charisma, it's like, oh no you didn't, you're gone. Oh no you didn't, you're gone. That doesn't feel as cool, does it? So in Index Card RPG, that's why we use the effort system. So it's like, even if I win a guy over with a charisma check, I then roll for how much I won him over, and the job isn't done. I need to keep talking to him. And that could change everything. It basically turns charisma into a combat detailed capability. And then, have at it. I don't see a very good reason that it would be bad that charisma would be overused. Just throw the giant earth-digging worm at him. That thing can't be reasoned with. Have you run any adventures in Karatur from Oriental? Oh my god, Kung Fu, way to take it way back. Yeah, we did some of that back in the day. We did GURPS Oriental too, which like Oriental, oh my god, that's such an outdated term. Yeah, and totally ethnocentric and horrible. Wow, we did... Yes, I mean, and it was awesome. We didn't get too far into it. That's when I was playing some TMNT and some other stuff way back in the day. But we found that it just became too... Everybody was doing the same, like, sort of ninja accent, you know, kind of, and it just... We didn't know where to go with it. It didn't have enough... It didn't have enough substance for us to really explore. I think it became more stereotypes. Actually, you know what? That was about too when we were really into Dark Sun. And Dark Sun had room for us to invent. And Dark Sun we played for years, like 3 years. Yeah, Alpha, exactly. Conversations don't just get solved just like that. You kind of gotta bring them in. And then maybe you fail a little bit, but you're like, no, I'm not giving up. I'm telling you, dude, you should totally go running down that tunnel. There's not a pit at the end. Do you plan... Oh, Space Ninjas, Christian Dharma, real quick, Gamma World. Alan Bray, do you plan to write more books in the Runehammer universe? Yes, I'm doing 2 right now. One is A Burning in New Haven, which my patrons on Patreon selected that's the next book I'm writing. And since they're the people really that are paying my rent, that I actually paused work on Wolves and Wonders, which is the 3rd Alfheim book. And I'm going all in on A Burning in New Haven now. But I will finish Wolves and Wonders because it's more than halfway done. But it's really the continuation after Shield of Hanar. So this stuff is nowhere near stopping. I think really the only thing I need to figure out is how to reduce distraction. So I just have so many things that I want to do because I'm so stupidly enthusiastic about things that it's hard for me to just be a novelist. It's just not fun enough. I mean, I like all this crap too. I want to build 3D terrain. I want to build Agnar. I want to make dungeons. I want to roll dice. I want to play online with my friends. I want to talk to you guys. So the novels take a little while. The effort system is the best thing about ICRPG. It is huge, and you can disregard the rest of the entire book, but if you put it into your game, you'll see how it opens up more players. It gets rid of this problem of like killers are the coolest people in the game, which to me has always been a problem. You need to have your single theme word for each day. Oh my God, Christian Dharma, flipping my shit back on myself. It's so true. You wake up and today, novel. I'm going to write. Yeah, actually, writer. That's my word for today. I'm a writer. Today I'm a sculptor. Man, that one word discipline is a brutal design theory. Brutal. It gets into a bunch of creative theory stuff that you guys don't want to hear about. Ever watch Farscape? Oh my God, Tonguebeard. I can't watch Tonguebeard. But yes, Warp Shell is kind of similar. Since we're playing Dragon Age RPG game, it works out because they're both said, oh, that's awesome. We need more room design key mechanics videos. Jeff Woods. Well, I am on it, my brother. Now, key mechanics are hard to do because there's only so many key mechanics. But room designs can go on forever. But key mechanics, if there's more than 20 of them, they aren't key anymore. They're just mechanics. Will you make a post sometime on systems that don't make it into ICRPG, like injuries? Actually, ICRPG does have injuries. But what are they? In case it hasn't made its way to your table, just telling your players there are injuries in this game. What do you mean? Well, if one of you sustains one, then we'll talk about it. Oh my God. Just saying that is insane. People are used to dropping to 0 hit points all the time with no injuries. But an injury is your leg is messed up, and actually there is no leg and it ain't growing back. You're slow now, dude. And you are, and I speak from experience here. Like, you can't jump things. It's over. Like, you got one leg, brother. Bringing injuries into your game is really easy because it's all negotiated. It's all improvised at the table. Don't pretend like you're going to write down some cool injury system. You're not. There's a million injury systems, and they're all confusing and weird and awkward and not natural. And they also just interfere with, I like my hit points to go up and down. We all like that. I mean, let's be honest. But every once in a while, you got to say, man, you just got hammered, dude. Like, you dropped to like -15 in one hit. Like, it blew your arm off, dude. It blew your arm off. It's an injury. And the arm ain't growing back. I don't care how you get resurrected or what happens. You got one arm now. So no two-handed weapons, no climbing. Well, the climbing is extremely difficult. You know, sign language is going to be baffling. Creative theory, FS Bomb. I have two huge pillars of creative theory that I really believe in. One is the Osborne method, which is the suspension of judgment. Osborne was basically a guy in the 50s and 60s who invented brainstorming. And the other one is the Russian, I believe it's called the Taraz research, which is 60 years of research concerning creative problem solving, which detected all these commonalities in patterns of problem solving that are far simpler than what a lot of so-called creative people want to portray as the process. We'll get into that probably in a podcast. I've heard good things about Dark Sun, but you're out of here. Peace. Yes, Dark Sun's the shit. I ran Harn World and Harn Master for 20 years. Oh man, that's the LARP compatible madness. That shit is awesome. VR sculpting is cool. I haven't touched my VR rig in quite a while. That community evolved really fast, and I wasn't really keeping up with it. And it, like so many 3D art communities, it became so precision-oriented that I felt like my art was pretty sloppy in there. But also, no one ever wanted to commission that work because I think it lacks heart. It's really fun, and I enjoy doing it, but I think painting just has a lot more humanity to it, and it's a lot more timeless. I made a player lose an eye on the very first counter. Yeah, no bow and arrow for you. Well, I mean, you can use one. It's just you're going to be terrible at it. And no driving. I forgot how crazy these Q&A streams can really be with a lot of drinking. I mean, you just get going, and it's thanks to you guys. 30-some of you still hanging around. Friday night to boot. I hope you all are having fun. Hey, look at this. Ah, there it is. Okay, all I have to do is get to the bottom of this Gigantor mug. I think it's about 1 liter. I've been thinking about making post-apocalyptic world for ICRPG just a homebrew. It's going to want to think about releasing it publicly. Yes, Alpha. ICRPG is Creative Commons. You're absolutely free to make profit off of the system. The only thing you can't do is replace the core book. So you can't include the core rules in your supplement. You have to shout out to it. But by all means, man, do it. Man, Hankering, I was skeptical of Index Card RPG, but I have totally fallen for it. It's easy to learn, blah, blah, blah. From the systems, it's my favorite system ever, says John Jarvis. Man, me too. I almost accidentally created it because it's what we wanted to play as a group. It's how we play. And then I realized, man, if we just boil down, the effort part was really the key, the keystone that fell into place at the end. That's when I really knew this is not D20 anymore. This is something else. So thank you for that comment, man. I really appreciate that. I have written so many stupid RPGs over the years. So many. And a lot of them came out like rifts. What is the #1 homebrew change you have adapted that you believe is a real game changer that everyone should start using? Media Bunker. I'd have to say using timers constantly in any RPG. Is counting either turns or rounds on your table with a die. Like here's a D8, right? So I roll it. Oh shit, I got a 1. So in one round, thing happens. What's the thing? I don't know. Doesn't matter. The Agnar freaking jumps into the mine and crushes all these crystals. That's what happens. And then, oh, okay, well, by the way, I'm rolling another timer, guys. Now that they know what that all, they go, oh shit, well then in 4 rounds, we're screwed. That gives the game a completely different tone. And it moves the game. And even when things aren't happening, they're about to happen. And you get rid of this sleepy problem in RPGs, which I think is a really big trouble, especially in the world of video games and phones and everything. It's like you have to have a high-tension RPG. Watched all your vids. Any chance more of these? Kevin Patrick, everything that you know Drunkards and Dragons to be, Runehammer will be ×2. Yeah. Escalation Dice. Oh, yeah. Escalation Dice came right out of 13th Age. Let's just be completely transparent about it. But it, to me, is something that's part of the hobby that we can never go back. It has to be in your game. Same with Spellburn from DCC. It has to be in your game. Period. I just converted Harbinger into ICRPG. It's so good. John Jarvis. Astrofade. Oh, man. Yeah, Astrofade is such a great system. Matt Click and Absolute Tabletop killed it on that system. Easily convertible into other systems. It's so fun. It's just the more you use magic, the more unstable you become. So fun. Nothing you write is stupid. It's just training. Empire Role Playing. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Absolutely agree about timers. Yeah. It's huge. It is huge if you really adopt it in your game. And then if you apply timers to turns, not rounds, it gets psycho. Turns being like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It gets crazy. So watch Battle Arena of Death, video I put up, I think, last week. Timer madness. Any spoilers on what's in store for Index Card RPG? Oh man, what a great T-ball. Terry Street, thank you. Index Card RPG Worlds is book 2 for Index Card RPG, and it is, I would say, probably exactly halfway done right now, and I'm hoping to release in November. It is the Warp Shell universe, which is the science fiction planet time stream jumping universe. It is Alfheim, which is my sort of fully realized fantasy sandbox. It's like, a big continent. And it is Ghost Mountain, which is my sort of haunted Old West setting, which also includes classes, races, firearm rules, rules for supplies and traveling, brand new list of spells and how to create spells within the setting, and then a whole campaign in the setting, as well as a big map and a world and the whole deal, some monsters and everything. It's huge. It's been a huge task. I've been working on it basically since I was working on the core book in February, and I'm almost there. So now I'm just doing all the book craft. Almost all the writing is done, so I'm just crafting the book, which means doing the art, laying out all the pages and stuff. After that, there are 2 more books for Index Card RPG, and there may be more if it continues to be successful, but there are 2 planned. There's Good and Evil are the name of the books, and they're going to be black with red stripes rather than white. And they basically delve into lots of different aspects of those two sides. So we're going to take heroes very far and what that means for the game, and we're going to take monsters and villains very far and what that means. And I'm going to hold that a little bit close to the chest because the writing is only maybe 10% done. So I can't say too much, but it's core, worlds, good, evil. That is what I planned as the real guts of the collection that you want to have. And you know, by the time Good and Evil come out, second edition of the core will be out, which will be a far better book with all of the expansions that are in the PDF and all that stuff. By then we'll have volume 4, which is the Wild West volume that goes with Ghost Mountain. And whew, lordy lord, just thinking about it makes me feel a little wacky. Yeah, John Jarvis, there is a secret group called the ICRPG Super Group. So props to you guys if you're watching. We are starting the Ghost Mountain campaign as a playtest next week. So we've got like a gunslinger, and I think we've got an infernal and like a weasel, and it's going to be great. So can't say too much yet, but holy shit, it's coming. And I can say Ghost Mountain is one of my favorite settings that I've ever created. It's absolutely epic. It's just so I just can't wait for the world to have fun with it. What do you think of Mike Merle's latest tweets? Setting built on people, not by blah, 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 blah. Totally agree. Distrab. By the way, you've been around forever, Distrab. Totally agree. When you think about a setting, think about the key moments. Those key moments start to inform places because you mention them as you tell the story. And then think about, you ever have that moment where you tell a story and a player or a reader says, well, do you have a map for this? Oh, then you need a map. Before that, you don't. You need a story. And stories are about people. I couldn't agree more. I think tweets over-exaggerate and over-reduce deep thoughts. But that's a damn good tweet. Oh boy. That was a gutful right there. Yeah, Stormblood X, maybe Good and Evil might come out at the same time if I can get it done. Pulp heroes like Shadow or Supers. You know, James Carr, those have never really grabbed me. Modern characters, I have a really hard time with them. Last night we played in DM Scotty's amazing like alien invasion game called Weird Tales. And it was fun. It was really cool. But I have a really hard time playing a modern character. I just don't know what to do. Modern world is so complicated. Where do I sign up, John Jarvis? For what we were just talking about, just jump over to Drive-Thru and get a copy of ICRPG and join the Google Plus community and start playing with us, man. I wanted the core book, but I didn't miss out. Oh, yeah. As far as buying a hard copy, Dazoo 6, yeah. Yeah, hard copies don't get updated like PDFs, man. I mean, hard copies are not easy to update. So they're really great. Mine is starting to wear out. It's getting all curly, especially because I'm looking up loot tables and equipment all the time. But yeah, if you're holding out for second edition ICRPG hard copy, you are totally reasonable. Rock on. If you went ahead and jumped in on the hard copy early, the way that I priced it, it's really no penalty. You know, you kind of are paying very little for it. So RPG Crate. Okay, Adramir, good point. I gotta go, blah, blah, blah. Got groups, kid. Wait, I got a group of kids just getting into the hobby. Any advice? Michael Maitland. Yes, give them a straight tunnel. A straight tunnel with an orc, a door, and a pit. That's how you get people into the hobby. Not with choices. With a nice, tight set of challenges and why they use different stats. Steampunk, same thing, Michael. So modern. It's just not... I have a hard time writing it. Okay. All right, I'm going to close the Q&A for the moment. And we are going to get our hands on some shit. All right, here we have RPG Crate number 2. So, as I was saying, whew, oh boy, it's a lot of beer. Oh my God, so happy. It make you so happy. All right, so the first RPG Crate you get, of course you're excited. You've never gotten an RPG Crate before. You're like, this is freaking amazing. The second one, Now, I took a little peek in here, but the minute I was peeking, I was like, don't peek. You have to, your response has to be real. People have to know that I'm being honest with this shit. Agnar, you need to leap out of the arena. That was the Agnar, that wasn't me. Okay. I took a peek and I thought, don't take a peek. That's ruining Christmas. Let's open this sucker up. All right, what are we looking at here? Well, first of all, you always get a card that describes what's in the thing, and I don't really like this practice, actually. This, to me, is a little too controlled. I like chaos. You know, this box should be a box of chaos. Ah, what's this? We have another t-shirt. I don't want a t-shirt every month. This t-shirt also has not good art on it. And it's a Hanes t-shirt, which is not good. So that's what I got. I got a Blue Dragon t-shirt. T-shirts are cool for people playing RPGs, but everyone has clothes. T-shirts are not equipment you need to play RPGs, so no. Also, you can't do Hanes t-shirts. You have to do American Apparel t-shirts. No one wears Hanes t-shirts anymore. All right. Secondly, I have some kind of signed art here. Looks like we might have a dragon theme on our hands. It's okay. It's by Pav. Terry Pavlet. I don't know who that is. It's okay. It's like a kid and a dragon. What do I do with that? I'm not sure. All right. Ooh, now we have some goodies. All right. So effing cool miniatures usually puts something in RPG Crate, and I like that. I mean, we all like miniatures. Unfortunately, these are super old school, so they're pewter. You have to glue them together, which I don't even have like glue that really works well on metal, and paint them. But this looks like a very, very small dragon. So I think in the age of WizKids miniatures, doing this every month is just not going to hold. You know, WizKids miniatures are so great. There's so many of them. They're so damn cool. This is starting to not be a competition. I love the ones last month, the little wizards. I'm pointing at them. I know you can't see them over there, but this is not a dragon. Ouch. My chances of getting another free one seems to be slipping away. Okay, now this is dope. Adventure coins. Do you guys know anything about this? This is cool. It's a bunch of sweet little metal coins with like dragons and tentacles on them and stuff. So I'm sure you can't see the details, but they're nice and heavy. These are great. These would make good inspiration, or if you do hero coins for Index Card RPG. Oh yeah, those are quality. Ooh, that's luscious. Those are really dope. But see, I would not want to get these again, like next month. I would be very disappointed. I think that's the trick with RPG Crate. It's got to be totally different every month, and so far it's not that different. But these coins are really, really cool. So, fuck yeah on the coins. I'm going to put them right here. I'm going to get back to those. Pardon my language. All right. Then we've got, it looks like same old here a little bit. So we have these one-page adventures. Oh, God, I love how they smell. Now, they do have maps, and they are complete adventures, but they're giant paragraphs that are not easy to absorb, and I find myself giving up on trying to run them. What do we got? In a previous adventure, the characters have been forced to transport the corrupted podium through the... Oh, cool! It's a continuation of last month. Okay, that's pretty dope. So if you're actually playing out of RPG Crate, they are number referenced, and you can play them in sequence, and there's a story here. Okay, that's pretty dope. But you guys, seriously, do not make me read 4 paragraphs in a row. Like, do not do it. Break it up. Be brief. I mean, look at that. No one can read that much text. Still pretty dope. I'm going to have a little fat file of these, and then someday I'm going to come back and be like, oh, I missed this little gem right here. Ooh. So props on that one. Keep making adventures. Just for crying out loud. Brevity, brevity, brevity. Brevity is the king of creativity. Next, what do we have? Okay, usually you get a book. Against the Dragons. Oh, this looks like a module. Ooh, it's an old school module. Nice. Got a lot of black and white art. Ooh, a lot of maps. I don't know if you guys can... Oh, yeah, this is dope. This is an old school, like, Dragon Magazine style. Okay, sick. Love it. Awesome. That's worth $10 right there. I will totally mine this. Also, I just saw it, but there's a sweet drawing of like adventurers coming up on this giant dragon mouth. Like, hell yes. I totally want to craft that scene. That would be awesome. Okay, so that's cool. Good on you on the dragon theme there. So coins and adventure, very cool. One-page adventures, but at least they're a continuation. That's dope. T-shirt, and I don't know what that art is. No good. Again, bookmarks. You guys, I don't need bookmarks every month. Like, I'm not reading 6 books at the same time. So I don't need bookmarks. And then some kind of little mini thing. I don't know what that is. All right, that's it. That's RPG Crate. So I like the surprise of RG. I love the coins. I would never get those otherwise. I mean, they're cool. They're heavy. They have dragons on them. Those are dope. Those are way better than what I use at my table. I'm going to have to give a B- to a C+ on that second crate. So the jury is not out. But I would love to see a crate come with no t-shirt, no adventures, no book. Like, blow my mind. Hit me with some dice. Hit me with some 3D printed stuff. Hit me with some, just change it all up. Like, flip it. Give me some papercraft stuff, like, or a small book like Perilous Wilds. And from more publishers. Not Frog God is awesome, but expand. Variety. That's the key to the RPG crate, right? Variety, not consistency. Consistency is the bastion of the uncreative. Marcel Proust. All right. Whew. Man, that was intense. I missed the Agnar. Okay, there's a lot of beer to go, and nobody goes home till the beer's gone. So we probably got another half hour there at least. Oh, Perilous Wilds is so great. Yes, it is. Hey, Ankron, have you used timers to give your players a boon instead of a threat? Absolutely. Yes. Now you are seeing into the beauty of it. The key about the timer is not that you're being mean or smiting them. It's that they don't know what's coming. And mixing it up with a boon or a small event or the freaking tunneling worm emerges, it's them not knowing that's the joy of it because they will hang on that. And that is what the game, I think, has been missing for many years, is hanging on something coming. Sounds like you need to do a crate. Oh, God, don't even get me started with another project. Yeah, the old school module is really cool. Against the Dragons is what it's called. Big fan of that. So basically, for my $30 this month, I got the coins and I got Against the Dragons. So on Amazon prices, that actually would probably be somewhat even Steven. But I don't need crummy t-shirts and like random tidbits and stuff. I think RPG Crate, if you're watching, and I hope you are, or I hope you hear about this, I think that getting your mind blown is the key to the crate. Not, here you got another t-shirt and another bookmark and another... I don't care, man. No. But when you surprise me with little tidbits, ooh, I love you. I love you. It's romance. Friday, I'm in love. Saturday. I don't know the rest of the words. What is it? You know, Mondays, Thursdays, always black, but Friday, I'm in love. Anyway. Whew. Taekwondo. Kung Fu Space Barbarian? Yes. Yes to Taekwondo. How do you avoid shackling your own creativity from Casey's Law? My God, dude, that is a big, big question. How do you avoid shackling? Well, if I understand your question properly, the biggest thing that's going to shackle you, that's going to confine you creatively, is expectation. And usually not yours. It's usually someone else's expectation, and usually it's not real. It's your perception of their expectation. Well, they're going to want blappity-blue, so I better not dibbity-dang, right? You're almost always wrong when you use that line of reasoning. There's a great line, which is, oh God, I don't know who said it, and I'm sorry about that, but the quote was, Mozart didn't let the audience write the symphony. And this is brilliant because, you know, a lot of creative people get a bunch of shit from people that are surprised by or don't like what they're doing. But then in time, or there's a small group who really like what they're doing, it's proven. Well, they were true to their creative vision. I think that the main thing that stops you from being adventurous with your creativity is trying to live up to some kind of imagined expectation in others. And you know what other people really want? And you guys have helped me see this. They want you to be yourself. They want you to be honest and to explore your own imagination and just try and just go. And God bless this modern world because it's so expansive because of the electronic world. That people of like mind, it's so much easier for us to gather that people pressing creative boundaries get a lot more support. When I was a kid trying to write a Rifts style RPG, I was a mutant. There was no one. It was me and my Rifts books, and the few guys that I played GURPS with who thought I was insane for thinking about Rifts. That was it. And I'm talking like 3 14-year-olds. Like, nothing. But nowadays, and I can't even imagine being like 13, 14 right now with this huge expansive world to connect with anybody who's interested in what you... So anyway, to your question, you're shackled by, first, expectation of others or your imagined expectation, and second one, and you know what the second one is, it's fear of fucking it up. How many projects have you not done because you thought you would quit halfway through or suck at it or mess it up or waste a bunch of time, right? So you didn't do it. I'll tell you, there's no better way to not get good at things than not doing them. So those are my answers, those two right there. What are your favorite D&D modules? Oh my God, Dizu 6. Well, Keep on the Borderlands is one of my all-time favorites. Temple of Elemental Evil is one of my all-time favorites. I loved the original Curse of Strahd, but I had a brilliant DM back then who completely homebrewed it into a craziness. And I'd have to say the Song of the Fen is one of my all-time favorites. Actually, I'm going to put Song of the Fen right in the front and then Keep on the Borderlands. Song of the Fen, I mean, it's also who your DM is, but that was just so poetic and wonderful that really won me over. So if you want to look that up, you can see what it's all about. Damn, man, these are good answers. Thank you. I find myself ever constrained. Yeah, dude. Casey, it's just like every other muscle in your body. The only way to develop it is to work it and make it hurt. If things are comfortable, you are going nowhere, man. You have to be afraid. You have to be mad. You have to be tired. It's the only way to expand. And it's true of the body. It's true of the mind. It's true of the heart. It's true about loving another person. It's true about taking care of animals. It's true about cutting your yard. Unfortunately, there's no easy path on anything in this world. It's all just doing. Sit down and roll the bones. You will get better at it. And there is a grade of quality. We all know that. We've had shit sessions and we've had crazy awesome ones. That's not just coincidence. All right. Whoa. Michael Myers. Speaking of modules, what do you think of the difference between the old modules from the new ones? Adventures book. Michael Myers, thank you. Good question. Tomb of Annihilation. The newer things are much more product savvy. They are risk averse. They take the collection mindset and make high revenue product that lots of people want. Old school modules never did any of that. Old school modules were creative experiments with almost no revenue involved. That's the key difference. The other difference is, yeah, the newer stuff is very difficult to fully absorb and execute because it's so big and whoa. I mean, everyone that talks to me about Storm King's Thunder, is that what it's called? It was driven crazy by it and just never wants to do a book adventure again. But sure is a fun book to buy. Now, I really, don't get me wrong, I'm not like anti-WotC or something. I love Volo's. I think Volo's guide is awesome. Really good monsters in there. I love the WotC monster books. But I really believe adventures are best delivered in a very small format, in very short paragraphs. Like the one in Torchbearer is brilliant. Can you do drawing videos? Yeah, I'll keep doing those, Hugh. No problem. You make your own music. Hain, I don't know what Haynes is. You mean like the t-shirts? Oh, beer has many fingers. Has my fingers slurring. Yes. Oh, do you make music for games? I have a few times. It becomes prohibitive in its workload. So I do all the music for the YouTube channel. But for games, I generally just have a Pandora channel that's built on Wardruna, and that takes care of me. Yeah, over-realized is a good way to put it. But, Oren, you have to realize, thank you for your comment, there are tons of people that are employed by the success of these huge products. So it's awesome that they're doing it. People clearly love to get those books and read through them. But if you're actually translating things to the table, yeah, it can get difficult. Your earlier videos depict you with other people. Yeah. You always see him alone now. David Ism. Groups don't last, man. Groups don't last. Groups move and change. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still people around. It's not like I've become a hermit. But I found that a lot of people don't want to be videoed. They don't want to be on camera at all. Like, they're not comfortable with it. Now, and when things were very small, it's kind of okay. But the bigger things get, people don't want to be on camera. I just want to put that out there and make that clear. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I have a great time with it. My mom raised me with a lot of public speaking in our life. It was a big part of her life, and she gave me a lot of that power. And so I enjoy it. But you know, a lot of people feel very uncomfortable with that eye over there looking at them. And I found that I didn't want to bring it into the groups that I was enjoying playing with. I mean, we had this epic night of Secret Hitler the other night. But I'm not going to film that. I'm not going to use it, if you see my meaning. And also, I've come away from a table group for the last 6 months. I don't have a table group right now. I have online groups. And I'll get a table group going again, but I don't know about you guys, but I don't just have a table group like for 10 years straight. That is not something I can handle. I do like a 2-year campaign that just completely melts my life. And then I'm like, okay, no table group for a year. Speaking of long modules, when you use them, do you tend to look at the map and key or just start cutting away what feels extraneous? James Carr. I just tend to mine for tidbits that get me going. I really don't do it in any structured fashion. So actually, the last one that I really looked through was the Book of Lost Spells, which I got in RPG Crate. So if I was going to say anything intelligent about RPG Crate, I want to make sure that I gave the book a good read. And I went through, and I was kind of like, oh man, this spell could be an adventure right here. I'm going to, yeah, you know, and then off I go. So I just think in a very non-linear fashion. And the last thing I can do is take someone else's story idea and push it onto some players or something. That just doesn't match my concept. What do you think about short, questy, or punchy adventures OSR people are putting out that stress original ideas and usability at the table? Deathfrost Doom for, oh yeah. Hey, Questing Beast, thanks for tuning in, man. It's good to have you. I'm all about it. I think that I really don't like the term OSR because I think it's terribly misleading. But I really do like small, punchy adventures that you can just get to the table and play, and they're fun. I think you could give me 5 bullets and get me going creatively more than give me 500 pages. Even I'm a total sucker because I bought Tales from the Yawning Portal, and I look at Sunless Citadel and I was like, how did I ever run that back in the day? Oh my God. This is such an edifice. It's just smiting me with its freaking massiveness. So I love your question, Questing Beast. You're the bomb. Um, I don't like the term OSR. I think that it is oversimplifying. That's what it should be called, the oversimplifying revolution or Renaissance. In the OSR, or the so-called old school, everyone was homebrewing and everything was just as complex and narrative and wacky as it is today. To think that back in the day everything was being run off tables and it was all like percentiles and stuff. No, everyone playing, at least when I was in the mid-'80s, was completely homebrewing, being narrative, making up simpler dice mechanics, ignoring 3/4 of the books. So in my mind, there is no OSR. It's how people play the damn game, how the hobby is done. I think that it's just a cool sort of marketing or branding tactic to say this is old school. Now, artwork can definitely be old school. That's different. We lived in a time when people literally like had micron pens and they're drawing the stuff and then they like take a photo of it and put that in the book like newspaper style. That is old school. Yeah. All right. Prisoners of Moloch was awesome. Starting in APOC. That's awesome, Troy. Man, Prisoners of Moloch is so applicable in so many different scenarios, and a lot of people, of everything I've done, I think that's probably the most played. Such a silly little awesome premise, too, but it just works. Was wondering about your book writing process. Whew. You write parts of them. Curtis Conway. Man, that's a big one. This is definitely worth a podcast on the Patreon. I don't do any assembly. I know that some writers do that. I don't do outlining and I don't do any planning. I just write. I write the story. I sit down and I write the story. And usually it changes. Maybe 5% of it changes when I edit it because some parts don't make sense. But I really just write the story. You guys know how I am. I tend to find a keyword or two, and it just happens. The fire hose of verbal diarrhea just happens. And my duty as a writer is just to make sure I get it. That's why I'm a really sloppy typist. And as long as I get it, as long as I catch the honesty and the emotion of when I first felt it, I think that people reading it feel that emotion too. What is the YouTube channel for your music? I'm not sure what you mean. A lot of the music that's used in my early era of YouTube is on SoundCloud under the tag BR8. Do you have any tips for improving character drawing and design besides practice? Michael Myers, definitely put all your work into the top half. What is your favorite non-alcoholic drink? Beer? Oh, you mean with no alcohol? Well, it can't be anything based on water, so I'd have to go milk. That's really interesting. The OSR groups I run with do things very similar to the way you described. Keep things light, fast, deadly. Use the bones of old rule sets. Amen, brother. Amen, questing beast. Amen. Sounds like your groups are a freaking blast to play with. In the world of 4K video games and constant blah, 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 do you think younger players to open-ended nature of ICRPG? Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely, I do. I don't think there is any way to generalize young people right now that is meaningful. The state of the world has always been non-conducive to this, that, or the other thing. There is nothing, and there are so many of us now. The world is getting so big and complex and fast. No generalization is useful anymore. Everything you can think of, there are tons of people doing it. There's a huge community of antique bagpipe restoration happening. I mean, everything. And if you really spend a week of wasting your time following rabbit holes on the internet, it is insane how many undiscovered little communities there are, and it's also freaking beautiful. The world is so much better home for intelligent and enthusiastic people who have specific interests. And it's freaking great. It's the best result of the internet, is that specific interest people, and especially smart ones, have a home. And they didn't before. You were on your own and you were ridiculed. But we made it through that part so we could get here. That's why I will never hear that there's a D&D resurgence happening. This is not a freaking resurgence. We have been here the whole damn time. Now, you can market it as maybe the revenues are resurging, but we're not. We've been playing this shit since we got made fun of for doing it. It's not a resurgence. You just recently got interested in it. Whew. Okay, that's a sore spot. What's your favorite way to bring player characters together and make them want to role play just as much as enter combat? Scott Storm, thanks for the highlight. Don't start your campaign or your adventures or whatever with people meeting each other. Don't do it. It's too complex. Before the adventures begin, there's a reason they're together. They're family members. They're old friends. They're crewmates that have already been through hell together. They're old veterans that used to be in battle and they've all given up. They're all drunkards at the same bar for the last 10 years. They're already best friends because you know who's at your house to play D&D? A group of your best friends. Let them be that. They will want to role play as best friends. I'm going to help my homie out. Oh, I got his back, man. He's my boy. Not like, my character doesn't like other people, and now we will meet. Oh, screw that. Speaking for myself, I was 24 when I first played D&D. Principles are the same, but the experiences are so different. Amen, brother. Role play in combat, Christian Dharma, yes. Combat and role-playing are not mutually exclusive in any freaking way. There is no better way to role-play. I mean, look at Braveheart. The best role-playing is when they're in these battles. That's when they become their true selves. Whew. Okay, you guys. Yeah. We're getting into some shit. Man, Bungwires, I'm the same way. I just love it. I love seeing people feeling awkward about putting their imagination into the bones. But then rolling the bones always brings them right back to earth. It's right there. It's so good. Whew. Okay, what do we got? Starting out as best friends is great. Yep. Yeah, questing beasts. I think you make a great point that running D&D is like throwing a party. This is why you can't, at least I can't play for 5 years at a time. I can't have a party at my house every week for years on end. I can't do it. I need some privacy, you know? I need to have my shoes all over the place. Well, Twig's shoes. I need to, you know what I mean? I need my space. I freaking love running a table group. I mean, it is the thing. But I can't just do it all the time. It's kind of like with the name change of the channel, right? Drunkards and Dragons was super awesome. I have nothing against that name. But I can't just do the same thing forever. I need change. I need to grow. I need to evolve. And yeah, man, it is a lot like hosting a party. Questing Beast. By the way, we got to get together sometime and play, my brother. You are a nut job. You're a mutant. I just finished playing with my group. They killed it disadvantage. How do you help a new DM along as a player and experienced DM? I'm not sure what you mean. No, I'm not going to ride my motorcycle to Tucson. That would be very time consuming. That's why I made a video about it, you guys. You can't underestimate what I did to ride out to Gen Con and back. That's not something you do like all the time. I camped for 10 days straight. I rode all the way across from Washington to Ontario by myself on my bike, having no idea where I was going. I rode back across the states in 4 days in a blitz. These are not things you just lightly do. That's why I'm not sure everybody caught the gravity of that video, but you really should. There's a lot to it, a lot to doing that, and I really hope that everyone gets an opportunity to go see the world like that. You don't have to be on a bike, but you do have to be alone and get out in the big world and go meet people you don't know and find out how much love there really is in the world, because there's a lot where you are with the people you know. There's even more out there with the people you don't, and it's a freaking awesome feeling. Speaking of marketing and branding, I'm going to miss the moniker Drunkards and Dragons. Okay, here we go. while I've no doubt that Runehammer will be cool, it's a bit of a bummer. Marshmallow World, or wait, Marsh Homeworld. Mars Homeworld. Well, then here's to a bit of a bummer, my brother. Let's pour one out for the dead, and may the dead be triumphant. Well, do you plan to grow Runehammer from a one-man operation to including new employees, etc.? Kung Fu Space. I have been in the past 6 months searching for some partners, and they're very, very hard to find. It's just because of alignment of people, probably, but I also live a very ninja-like lifestyle, a very samurai lifestyle. I'm sure you guys appreciate it, but I put everything I have into this. Into the writing, into the artwork, the camera work, the sound. I'm not sure how to summarize it simply, but it's not easy to find a kindred spirit that's this committed. So I would like to find that, and I hope to share Runehammer someday, but I have not found that kindred spirit. I probably know one person. Bumbo, if you're out there, it's you. But he is busy with immense projects that I'll leave to himself because I don't want to name drop or anything, but he's brilliant, and we've been friends for many, many years, almost 30 years. And that would be good. But that search does continue. I'm not closed to any possibility. If it became a necessity that Runehammer became more of a company, then it's a company. But it's about this first. It's about us first. I'm terrible at promotion. I'm terrible at marketing. I don't believe in gimmicks. I don't believe in giveaways. I don't believe in sales. I don't believe in any of this stuff. I'm sure it works. I don't care. I want absolute quality, and more than that, I want absolute honesty. I want to provide a meaningful contribution that shows that I'm just like the people that I claim to be selling things to. That I'm not gloating on them or tricking them in some way. That is unfreaking acceptable. We are peers, my friends. Peers, equals. And that has to be at the root of wherever this sort of business piece goes. And if that keeps it small, then it stays small. If that makes it big, great, it's big. But that integrity has to be the absolute core. Mostly I've been playing D&D with the same guys since 1979. We have gaps, but we're hopefully gearing up to start a new campaign soon. How long do your groups usually last? Media Bunker. 1979. Good Lord, dude. My groups last just under 3 years, and then I'll rejigger the group. But you know what? There's more to D&D than playing D&D, right? It's a way for you and your brothers to get together. And sisters to get together. And if you still love people that you loved 30 years ago, then you still love them. So love them. And let D&D be an intermingled part of it. It's again, I love how people nowadays are starting to say if someone tells you how to play or that you're playing wrong, then they're not a lover of the hobby. I really believe that, man. Rock the frick on. Play for 30 years straight. Good Lord, you are a badass. Okay, I'm working on a wooden box for my ICRPG. I was wondering if you'll be creating individual emblems for each world. Yeah, well, they're like the dividers in the book. And you can process those dividers into a CNC machine. We don't get honesty and quality much in life, so fuck yeah. Stormblood, I actually think you might get more than you estimate. I think there's a ton of it all around us, all the time. It's just not celebrated in the media. So fuck the media on that front. The vast majority of people are rock steady, awesome, honest, loyal, friendly, loving, generous people. And nobody talks about them, and that's fine. I play with my brother and sister. Damn right you do. And here's to you, brother. That's awesome. Yeah, man. AI Bubblemit. Yeah, and if you're going to love, freaking go all in, man. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can get your heart broken and you just keep on trucking. Because that's what we do. Remember the meaning of life? Don't stop living. Keep going to the bitter, bitter end. No stopping. Hank, I'm a graphic designer by trade. Hit me up if you need help. I need so much freaking help you don't even understand. But I need a bona fide beast. I made Octun Cthulhu hack using ICRPG, the system. Oh man, I love that Octun Cthulhu stuff. Is great. Cthulhu Tech is really cool too. Does anyone else play besides your siblings? That's too funny. Giant Fantasy Doomsday Weapon. Yay or nay? Always yay. Always yay. Giant Fantasy Doomsday Weapon is where it's at. That is the foundation of the One Ring. Lord of the Rings. Yes. Doomsday weapons are a wonderful way to press the moral imperative. I think I reached the... I think I'm current on the stream, so I noticed there's a lag on my video feed here, but I think I'm current on the comments. Okay, so I'm going to drink. I earned some drinking time. Oh my God, you guys. It is exhausting and amazing to hit this level. God, I'm dying to reveal what's on this board right now. It's just killing me, but I have a bunch of video work and a bunch of paint work to do. I mean, I have Hankering Fernale right here. I shit you not. We live in an age of wonders. I have a player who always plays characters who act against the interests of the party no matter what. Zila Fallon. Do not play with that person anymore. I don't know what else to tell you. If you've had, and I'm sure you had because you sound pretty sincere about it, have you had a little bit of a talk there? Have you had the tribunal? Like, hey, is there something that's like causing you to sort of disengage? Because I think it actually affects people more than you might think. And I just want to make the game fun for you, right? That's the conversation. Well, I blah, 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 and I blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll do those things. You do them, same behavior. Then, no more tribunal. Time to talk in private. And then you're like, hey, it's something, is something going on between me and you? Like, how come you're... This is usually the type of personality that wants to be there to wreck fun for others. And it's bullying. It's a form of bullying, and it's up to each one of us in life to stand up to people like this. That's all I can say. I know it's a very difficult answer. And I'm sorry about the difficulty of the answer. But I have a really sore spot when it comes to bullying. I really do. And you guys can imagine why. You gotta stand up all the time. This is why honesty is so important. And at first, it's gonna feel weird to be all super honest with people. But after a while, just telling your feelings and just saying exactly what's on your mind, man, people love it. And if somebody doesn't like you being honest, they shouldn't be in your life. Bow. There you go. And usually people exhibiting this kind of behavior, they're just sucking your energy, and they shouldn't be in your damn life. And you cannot blame your behavior on a character. That is a classic bullying technique. Oh, well, my character's an asshole. No, you are. There you go. If that person, okay. If someone doesn't want to take part, yeah, as long as you don't, yeah. No, don't kill his character. Kung Fu Space Barbarian. That is totally the wrong answer. But you had the little, you have the tongue face, so you're good to go. Yeah, see, exactly. Zila, that's exactly it. They're not phased. They don't care because they're nihilistic. You got to stand up and you have to be like, hey, I wouldn't say you're out of the group. I would actually just end the group. Then I would make a new group without that person. But you can't just continue the story without that person. That's weak. That shows weakness. If you're the leader, which I assume you are because you're asking the question, you just say, hey, actually, now this is kind of over. This is over, guys. Let a month pass, then invite everyone but that person, make a new group, start a new campaign, play a new game, move forward. And talk about it. Say, hey, yeah, he's not here or she's not here anymore. There's a reason. Like, they weren't having fun, and they were crushing you guys' fun. So I took it into my own hands. Is that okay with everybody? There you go. Like, that's freaky honesty. That's like Agent Cole type honesty. I got to peace out. Later, Alistair. Thanks for coming in, dude. It's good to have you. Hey, wait. I thought nobody was going to go home until his beer is gone. Oh, sweet irony. Going through that right now. That's not irony. That's coincidence. Don't go through it. Conquer it. And if not for yourself, for your players. I agree with starting a... Yeah. AI Bubblement. It's absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. It's just like you can't go get a new lover when your marriage sucks. You've got to end the current marriage before you fall in love again. Because that's what honor dictates. And it's the same with D&D. You can't just kind of, blur the line. You got to have the courage to be honest, and you got to, you know what I mean? What do you call the mouse shadow on the second moon? Wait, it's not bright on it. We call that one Muad'Dib. Then may I be called Paul Muad'Dib. You will be called Paul Muad'Dib. People are leaving. Goodbye. I'm panicking. I bought ICRPG Codex shirt, and I think I... yeah, Rick Karg. Amazon t-shirts, their whole gear thing sucks. They pulled my Drunkards and Dragons t-shirt because they said it had copyright infringements. You can write the rest of the story for yourself. Yeah, they are vintage now. The Drunkards and Dragons t-shirts are officially baller vintage. Whew. Okay, I made it to the bottom again. That means I get to drink. So I hope you guys appreciate what tonight is really all about. And what our fellowship and us hanging out is all about. You know, I wanted to do this because I think it's important to be really upfront with everybody, like what this sort of, I hate the word brand, but you know, like this whole Runehammer brand thing is all about. It's leaning in on what you guys have told me I do well and what I don't do well. It's leaning in on the Patreon page, which I'm really, really proud of. And I'm not just saying that so you go and give me $5. I have $5. But the storytelling on Patreon, I'm really proud of it. There's really no other way to say it. I'm just personally very proud of it. It's something that's very... Writing and doing voice acting and stuff is very personal and very private. And to be able to share it, finally, after years of kind of feeling weird about it, it feels pretty damn good. It's a real release. Whew, yes, the growler does growl on a man. Yeah, and hey, Cheddar Monkey, you know, realize too that like the roots of the flippant nature of what we're all doing together have not changed. My favorite D&D moment ever, Jeff Woods. We were playing Fantasy Hero, the Palladium system. It must have been, just before I graduated high school. So it must have been 1990. And my DM's name was Dave, and he wound up going to the Marines. Anyway, we had played a 2-year or so campaign. I had this sword, the sword of the cloven hoof, right? And the more damage I did with it, it sort of had this curse on me. My character's name was Jack Van Daniker, and the curse was that it sort of made me more infernal or goat-like. The overall story was that there was this soul gem that was eating the souls of heroes across the land, and the wizard with the gem had all the powers of those heroes. And some of our former characters were in there, and so he had those powers. And we're coming near the conclusion of this huge thing. And I wasn't really full goat at all by that point. But we had this big confrontation, and you know those moments where you like mega combo your character? You're like, okay, I'm going to use the thing, Then I'm going to burst the potion. I'm also going to sharpen the sword with the poison. And then I'm going to use my feat. I'm going to use my chosen enemy, my nemesis feat. I'm going to put, and all of it so you can do like 5d12, right? Everybody's done this. You don't want to do it all the time, but there comes a time. It was my time. So I'm flying up, and we're fighting this wizard in his tower with this storm swirling. And I'm like full on freaking 300 mode, just like, ah! And all these rolls and all this shit. And I roll like an 18. Yes, it's enough. I deliver this massive hit. It wasn't the killing blow, but I think like the next one was the killing blow on the wizard. And I like drive it down through his shoulder and it comes out his back. And I did so much damage that the sword, the curse of the sword, like overloaded. And I just went full goat. I just turned into a freaking goat. The curse had basically, and I'd never been able to let go of the sword until that moment. I'm talking for like 18 months of gameplay, I wasn't allowed to put it down. So I would sleep with it. I would drink with one hand. I always had it in my hand because it was cursed. There was no putting it down. But for the first time, like I no longer had hands. They turned into hooves and I fell down and I was just like, And then like my homeboy came flying up over me and like put an arrow through the wizard's head and shit, and the gem shattered there. Oh my God, it was freaking psycho. And so I really didn't get to reap the rewards of the adventure because I was just like a goat on a farm. Like Jack Van Daniker. That was my Palladium hero fantasy character from high school. But you guys know how that is too. It's not just what happens. It's the circumstances of your life and when it happens. Back then I had about 3 games going in high school. And Dave was about 3 years older than me. And he was our DM. And he to me, that was a real hero, And he was also a military guy. And so in my mind, he broke the stereotype, right? We're supposed to be like wimpy nerds. No, we're not wimpy nerds. We're people from all walks of life. We just happen to like playing freaking tabletop. And that's when I started getting these good examples of like, people that play tabletop are not any type. They're all types. And that was a huge time for me. To see that story come through like that and to have a good role model like that and to be in that part of my life and to just be like, oh my God, yes, this is better than every book I've ever read. And like, we're all high-fiving and everything. Man, good stuff. Yeah, the cloven hammer. It was a GG moment. That term did not exist back then, but the goat hammer. I know it's silly. It was maybe, I'd been playing since I was about 12, so it was 5 years, I guess, into playing tabletop when I was the goat hammer. But I was definitely the goat hammer. The amount of damage I did would accelerate the curse. And so man, great stuff. So good. Thanks for asking, by the way. Great question. Well, I hope it was a good question. If you didn't have any muscle mass, would this all still be as cool? Answer honestly. Muscle mass? You mean like me personally? Well, I hope that my physical construction doesn't affect the efficacy of what I say. You guys have to realize that when I came out of the hospital, when I got torn to bits, I weighed like 130 pounds. Like, God didn't build me or something. I'm not sure what that means. It's all hard work. If I don't go to the gym, I can't walk. I'm not sure all of the variables are out in the open there. I learned to play D&D at the checkout counter of a Goodwill. And that is a favorite moment right there. Hey, what's this box here? Oh, you know what it is? You get this number and you try to okay. Your thoughts come from your muscles. You're damn right they do. What's your totem animal? Bear. Easy answer. My first DM was in the Navy. Yeah, Navy, that's my arm. Or branch. Is it arm or branch? Is it the arm of the military or the branch of the military? Arm is like a person. Branch is like a tree. Arm, person, branch, tree. Arm, person, branch, tree. Okay, I made it again. Wait, I was a huge D&D nerd and joined the Armor Corps back in 1989. Army Corps, 1989. I played it on my tank in Germany. The two most common types of people that contact me with questions about D&D are military personnel and family folks. The nerd, I hate that word. The nerd stereotype is total freaking bullshit. There's no such person, and it's a pejorative term. It's a co-opting and controlling term that is used to hold people down and make them feel shitty about themselves. And it's BS. There's no nerds. There's smart people, and there are other people, and they're still equals. The stereotype crap is just, we're better than that. We've evolved beyond that. There's no geeks. There are no nerds. There's just people. They're complex. They're compound. They all have stories, and they should be appreciated as such. Damn it. How do I keep this big mug cold? This mug isn't cold. What are you talking about? This beer is warm as my thighs. And it's good, baby. Woo, my thighs taste good. My current DM for Out of the Abyss was in the Army. He's a fucking great guy. Probably the best DM I've ever had. Damn right, Alex Bubblemint. Wait, are you AI Bubblemint too? How did you get injured? Oh, Dave isn't. I don't know. I don't know if we want to get into that in the stream. I am an amputee, Dave, so that's all you get. Can we expect some super close-ups like POV in there where you can on your constructed maps? Yeah, Stormblood. Did you see some of the photos that I put up recently? I'll put up more of them. But yeah, POV is a perfect way to describe it. Like you get your camera right down in there. So the answer is yes. Any interesting sources of inspiration lately? Christian Dharma. I like your username, by the way. You know what's been blowing my mind a little bit? Torchbearer. I hate to just say that it's a book. You know, like, I like this RPG book. There's just something about it that just feels good. And it's just Luke Crane and Adam Coble and those guys that work together in this very kitschy but honest way. They're not gimmicking. They're not derivative or like funning on things. They're being honest. But it's got that something. That's something that makes you want to like drop your shit and go play. You guys know that feeling? Some books you're like, this is really cool. Other books you're like, I need to call somebody like right now. Like we need to make characters. I love that feeling so much. What causes that? I'm not quite sure. But Torchbearer definitely causes that in my heart. So to me, I've been trying to understand that. And I also was really, really inspired by Alien Covenant. I freaking hated Prometheus. I thought it was one of maybe the worst films next to Rogue One, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But then for them to bring it all the way back, and I don't like the idea that they're trying to explain the xenomorphs because I liked them when they were a force of nature better. But just as a film, I really enjoyed Covenant. And it reminded me of how enthusiastic I used to be about that genre and that world. And it's bringing me back to some of that sci-fi that I really like. I mean, mostly I live in the sci-fi world of like Ringworld and Asimov. But I really love that alien sci-fi world, as so many of us do. And those things have been inspiring me. Torchbearer and Covenant. Everyone hated Prometheus. Prometheus hated itself. That's how bad it was. It's like 3/4 of the movie. It's like, just kill me. Kill me. Crash a spaceship on me. Oh, man. Any good Star Trek RPGs? I don't know, dude. I don't know anything about that. I do not like derivative RPGs in any way. You got to make your own little world. Even if it's inspired by something, don't just directly do a Star Trek RPG. It's like, okay, am I Tuvok? Like, yeah, and I'm Chakotay. Oh, dear Lord. And I'm Kirk, and we're all on the same ship. Give me a good reason to read The Foundation again. I can't. If you read it, you're good. Can't agree about Covenant. Hey, good. Christian Dharma. That's what I like. Stand your ground. I can see how for the true original fan, which you guys got to know, I snuck into the original Alien movie when I was a kid. I was not allowed to be in there. I went without my parents. If my dad watches this video, he's going to freaking kill me. But I was a kid. I was like 8 years old, and I rode my BMX bike, and I went through the back door. I snuck in and watched Alien because my mom said she walked out on Alien, and it just made me, I had to go see it. So I did. I snuck in on Alien, and it melted my brain. It actually probably gave me some psychological dysfunction. I mean, it was a deep cut. I was freaking out. But I also was totally excited about the storytelling and the tone. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it's ever been matched as far as the tone. Because we live in a less innocent time, for one thing. But also the creative forces that came together there were analog forces. And those analog forces created that. And I don't know that you can make those analog forces again. It's kind of like, can you make Jimi Hendrix again? Hell no. Hell no. Because that's analog, man. Anyway, I'm getting a little, getting a little distrab. Yeah. You do. You need to, back then too, like things were unenforced back then. I think Shaker said something there, but now everybody's going off and it's all Cyber Hendrix. Found most to be Cyber Hendrix is Daft Punk. Let's face it. Alien gives me dark dreams. I think that Giger actually paid a very dear personal price for the creativity that's expressed in that. And I think that dear personal price is playing itself out over time. I don't think that the xenomorph concept is any longer an IP that belongs to those movies. I think it's become a myth that is as wide and as expansive as elves and dwarves from Tolkien. And Tolkien didn't invent those things either, and also paid a very dear price in World War I to create those stories. But I think sometimes creative people pay such a price in honesty to expose their dreams and nightmares that they resonate for decades. And I think Giger really paid a sort of terrible price in sorrow and personal annihilation to create those nightmares that still make us feel so excited. I think it's exciting because it's not predictable. There's something really great there, and that's the mark, to me, of a truly brilliant artist. Is that you don't see it coming, and yet it's honest. It's unshackled, to quote Casey from earlier. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. My parents wouldn't even let me watch Smurfs. Well, it's not a matter of what the world lets you do, is it, Andrew? It's what you do. Poe paid the price. Yeah. That movie is just garbage. Giger was plagued by night terrors most of his life. Oh man, Casey, that is the edge of it. Man, it went to a really terrible place. A lot of bad things happened to that poor guy. Any chance of seeing something like Viking Death Squad again? Christopher Zach. Hey man, thanks for the question, and thanks for bringing up Viking Death Squad, which I'm really, really proud of. Those things are not easy to create, to put it bluntly. I can't guarantee that I can make adventures like that on a regular basis. That was really, really fun, by the way, to run, and I hope to run it again, and I hope other people run it. But I'm not sure how often that's going to come. And trying to follow a formula to make it happen, it has proven not to really work. Like, I want to pick a Pink Floyd song and make an adventure and stuff like that. And I don't know. I don't know what answer to give you there. I guess I have to drink on that one, right? Because I bombed the answer. Viking Death Squad hit me like a lightning bolt. I had to write it down as fast as I could because my mind was blown. And props to Dave Hubble, who went to Valhalla first when we played it at AtCon. Should we bother mentioning AVP movies? Man, they're awesome. They're fun. I mean, they're terrible movies, but they're super fun. I need to run. Yeah. Oh, hey, Anastasia, what's up? Nice to see you. Tyndall. Yes. Everybody should give Viking Death Squad a try with their party or their players. It is so goddamn fun. It's just, and I'm not tooting my own horn because it's like the way the players make it fun. You know what I mean? But like you have to do the homework, right? You got to get the minis really cool. You got to have the dun you got to have all that in your tool bag. Yeah, you guys are going to love it. Much love from Hawaii. Hey, what up, my brother? Just got off popping a cold. Oh, good for you, Braxton. Good to have you, man. I lived in Hawaii when I was a little kid, when I was about 4. Used to go surfing out there, and we're going to go back next year. So, hey, we should stay in touch. Braxton, we're going to go out. I got to go out and do some one-legged surfing, man, like a bala. Yo, Shaker, you have to be inspired to make inspired shit. There's no formula. I disagree. I don't think being inspired is a real thing. I think what you need to do is do the work. Do 20 things that are mediocre, 10 that suck, and you'll get one that's freaking awesome. You're not inspired. Waiting around to be inspired is a great way to not do stuff. So no harm, no foul on you, Shaker. I don't mean that to you. But I'm just saying to everybody out there, there's no such thing as being inspired, I don't think. It's just doing it. You're doing it, and you're doing it, and you do it again, and then you make another thing, and you make another thing, and they're all crap, then you make another thing, and it's all awesome, and you don't know why. And then you keep going, and you make a thing, and you make a thing. There's no being inspired. Being inspired is a myth. The way to heighten your odds of making something cool, Picasso already summarized it. You have to fill the well. If you're constantly drinking from the well, there's not going to be any water in there. You have to know how to fill your well. You have to know what you love. And go love it. And then give, and then give, and then give. And then when you feel the well is getting empty, go love things you love. I say no more. Any insight into applying the cool room design philosophy onto wilderness and travel? Out of the cauldron, there is no difference. I get this question all the time. There is no difference. Rooms and the wilderness and travel, they're all exactly the same. Why is travel always different in tabletop? Oh, I know. There's no reason. If something weird is going to happen out on the road, that's a room. That's a space. That's a concept. Make it. Don't roll a table and then a wolf appears and like, come on, seriously? No. There's a thing that's going to happen while they're traveling. Boosh, here it is. Check it out. There's this big weird rock. There you go. Encounter underway. I did under watching the Smurfs. I watched hell out of the Smurfs. There's a thing I like. Waiting for motivation is bad. Alex, there's a thing I like. You live Big Island. Me too. Yeah, Braxton, I'm a Navy kid, man. So we're just on the base and stuff. And I was born in Guam, man. I grew up Chamorro. So that's how I do it. Inspired is a kind of lateral thinking, like dreams. They can be practiced and made stronger. Yes, it's true. The odd order. Oh, I know who you are, you bugger. That's Rigaroga up in there. Lateral thinking is a great way to describe it. It's preconscious thinking. Creative practice has a lot to do with the preparation of what happens in the preconscious mind. The preconscious mind gets more comfortable. It's like, you know, if you don't go to the gym for a month, how hard it is to go to the gym? It's near impossible. No one wants to go to the frickin' gym. It sucks. It's boring. But if you went to the gym yesterday, it's pretty easy to gym tomorrow. It's the same with being creative. Planar Codex. Yes, James Carr. Everything is a dungeon in this game. The word dungeon is just cool. It's the only reason that it's survived all this time. It's a cool ass word. It's like Dio would make a song called Dungeon. But really what they are is spaces or moments or rooms or encounters, which is the worst of them all. God. I say encounter, I'm just like, can we skip it? But if you say, hey, we're going into a dungeon, I'll be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes, I want to be in a dungeon because that's where people go crazy and die of starvation. We're rolling 20s. Can I see if I roll a 20 right now? 15. Not bad. Not bad. There's a book you talked about, the crazy name I can't remember. Like Cathar. Oh, you're talking about Rapanathuk. It's always on hand. You mean the unholy book. Yes. Yes. Good luck getting one of these. But I don't mean that like sarcastically. I literally mean good luck. I hope you get one. What do you mean shit didn't work? Get out of here, dude. Oh, you tried to use the macro. No, bro, this is YouTube. That's the one, yes. Rapanathuk is a massive work from Frog God and Necromancer. It's basically a 500-page dungeon. I know that Blue Medusas are out there. Everybody keeps telling me about it. Kind of looked at it. I don't know if I really like the tone or whatever, but maybe I'll get around to it. But I really do like Rapanathuk. Yeah, you may have to pay a lot of money to get Rapanathuk. How do you feel about paladins? I'm trying to soften my stance on it since we had a gnome paladin in our recent 5e group that was absolutely awesome, but he was swallowed by a frog. I'm just going to move on from that. 500 pages is plenty of time for starvation. Not bad. The Distrav coming with the deep cut. We're almost to the end, guys. I hope you guys are finishing up your drinks. Good Lord. No wonder you don't go into a bar and order like, I'll have one growler, please. Because there's a lot of beer in a growler. Especially if it's like a weird hoppy beer. What? All traps kill 1d6 paladins. That's brilliant. It's the pally pit. It's a 10-foot pitidin. Oh man, you guys, now I'm starting to feel sentimental because I feel the end coming. Whew. This is a huge moment. I mean, to me it is anyway. I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting stronger. And this whole thing has escalated from a D&D group into a whole lifestyle now. So much so that we have tonight where I get to not only interact with all you guys with all this craziness, but I get to think about how you got to this point. It's such a good feeling. Can you please show us the skull? Well, it's right here. He's got a tank on his head. Here, just a second. Here's the tank that's on his head. Well, I guess he is only a head. This is the skull right here. So I don't know if everybody knows this, but the skull actually is filled with gold coins. The skull opens and it's filled with gold coins and little scrolls and stuff. This is the skull. Alas, I hate you. The skull represents that dark side of us. We all have one just under our skin. It can be very strange to think about the skull. But yeah, the skull is no joke. He's got these huge bolts on him and he's mounted on a ceramic plate. Like, the skull weighs like 18 pounds. And he also has LED lights and all that garbage. The skull is insane. I don't like to think about the skull. Okay. Damien Sailors, thank you. I salute you. And we still have more questions. Casey's Law, tips for low fantasy. Dear Lord, don't get me started on low fantasy. That's what I love so much about Torchbearer. It's the absolute essence of low fantasy. Tips. Every instinct you have about being a dungeon master, you have to throw them out, and you've got to get nasty. You've got to watch Adam Koebel's Torchbearer game where everyone is constantly tired, scared, and exhausted. It's absolutely brutal. There's like cold water dripping down in the dungeon. They're like barely getting to fight anything. All they do is like fight off hunger and fear. It's so great. That's low fantasy. It looks heavy as hell. Yes, the thing is heavy as hell. I'm not kidding. It's because it wiggled. It wiggled, and I found that the camera would betray that it would wiggle. And I didn't want it to look like it didn't weigh anything, so I filled it with bolts and nails and quarters and this big ceramic piece. So it's like... Yeah, there we go. He's part of it now. Damn it. Been fun catching up. Christian Dharma, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm both running a game and playing one. It's fun to see the difference. Oh, man. 5e game that I play in hack slash. Oh, man. Isn't that great? It's just like Tim Carney says from Tabletop Terrors, is like the best way to be a dungeon master is to play games. Because you see what you want. And then you can give that want to a player. And man, does it feel good. And I think it's what I'm starting to realize about Theater of the Mind games is I'm having a hard time with them, and I'm really loving like mapped games. And as a player though, and so I play Theater of the Mind, and then I'm like, oh man, that would have made a cool map. How I could do the thing and the thing and the thing, and then throw that into my next game. So it gives you a lot. Oh, Tips Schmips, Carl, you were awesome before you got here. Kids, Theater of the Mind suggestions. Don't do it. Don't do Theater of the Mind with kids. That is a bad combination, dude. You need miniatures, even if it's papercraft. You need a map. Theater of the Mind is just like, kill me as a child. Are you serious? Like, I'm supposed to just imagine this and look at like a character sheet? No way. Kids barely even need a character sheet. Just make every challenge 10 and roll the dice to beat a 10. That's fun. Then get this stuff. Get this. Like, you want this crazy worm monster. You want all this cool plastic terrain and like cool plastic monsters. Now you're talking, there's a reason for a kid to show up. Have them pick their favorite toy and that's the character. Like, yes. But as far as like, yeah, things written on paper and, oh God, mathematic variation, meaningless. But focusing and telling a story, oh boy, that's fun for a kid. And then to think that a decision of the story is going to weigh on one roll of a dice, woo! All you have to do is beat a 10 with a d20 and you get what you want. But if you roll under a 10, you're going to fall in the hole. Damn, that's tangible. You don't need game design. I like being a nerd, though I wish I was a geek. They make more money. The media bunker. Hey, I have no response for that, but thanks for the highlight. We should all just be people, man. Where do you get that worm, Hank? That's part of the secret I can't reveal yet. I can't reach the camera, or I would pan down. It's just, I have a massive mother load of 3D printed miniatures, terrain, characters, monsters, everything right here in my play box. And I'm going to paint it in the next couple weeks. It's a huge project that I'm embarking on. Oh man, I don't know if you guys can see this. Well, you can see sort of the edges of it. There's no way to reveal it. It's too big. All in time. Are the boys thinking about elves yet? I don't know what that means. What age should kids start playing? I don't have answers for those questions. Hank, if you ever want to drink a bunch of beer and play in LA, Helm the Fighter is my man. Well, I generally avoid LA, but if I get down there, I'll holler at you. 3D printing is not necessarily the future. Oh, hey, JS, what's up, dude? It's not necessarily the future because it's really, really awesome. But it's very limited. It's limited, it's cost prohibitive, and it's very specific, and it doesn't look handmade. But there are parts of it that I could never do by hand that are just super awesome. And so I wouldn't call it the future, but it is an aspect of our hobby that should not be ignored. I can say that with absolute certainty. I love things that are made by hand. You guys know me. But yes, 3D printing is very, very intriguing, and it's going places. I think that as things change, and I'm trying to see maybe 10 years into the future a little bit, a dungeon master will have a 3D printer how nowadays you have a color printer, you know? So, I don't know. We'll see. Is it more expensive? That all depends on how you consider like the expense of time and stuff. It's more expensive in time to print than it is equipment. Don't be mistaken about 3D printing. Getting awesome STL files, getting a printer is not the expensive part. It's your dedication to doing a good job at it and the time to do the printouts. Just like crafting. Styrofoam is cheap, paint is cheap, but being good at it and sitting down and focusing on it, that is not cheap. Augmented reality. No, horrible. Do not put things on my head. Topic over. I bought a 3D printer and it broke in the second print. Yes. The fact that you got upset means you're probably not cut out for it. Brandon Bober. Any tips for class mechanics in a dungeon for a paladin? Oh man. I'm designing a dungeon. I want each class to have blah, 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 blah. I can't think anything for a paladin. Oh, well then you've never played a paladin. It's the lack of faith, my brother. The gods are gone, man. This is the best thing is to put a paladin on Dark Sun where the gods can't reach the world. The mechanic you want to do for the paladin is a place where the gods can't see. And he's alone for the first time. And you know what he is? A fighter. That is the truth. I sure hope so. Hang on, I'm looking at more into monoprice. Yeah. And there's a lot of great 3D printer stuff. And I'm going to break it all down for everybody and try to give everybody a blueprint of how this can be executed. Because I don't think it's a fad. And I don't think it's an oddball niche. People are spending more on things they never use than they would have to on a bitchin' 3D printing rig. But it isn't a matter of like, how much do I spend and how reliable. It's just, is it worth it? Is it the craft? Is it the hobby? That to me is the real question, and that's what we're going to explore in the next few months. Corrupt church officials. No, that's just fodder for a paladin. Hank's loot is in the moments. What does that mean, Distrab? Let me just say, there is a lot more here than just stuff. There are things coming. There are things in the works, and they're wonderful things. I'm about to finish this, you guys, and I have to pee. So we are coming in toward the end. It's been 2.5 hours of pure insanity. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thinking about Runehammer, thinking about where this is all headed, thinking about each other, thinking about tabletop, thinking about games, thinking about how to make them better, execute them to the best of your ability, write them, make them poetic, make them dramatic, make them specific to the people playing. Get what you want, get what they want. Be yourself, be honest, and join me in this freaking journey as we do whatever the hell comes next. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know I want to do more of this. And this table, this 3D table is getting so crazy. I think another table group is going to start to form in addition to the online groups. Oh my God. Casey's Law, Bungwires, the number of people that I should thank is so long. I could read basically the list of my inbox for Drunken and Dragons on Facebook, which is hundreds, if not thousands of people have sent me messages. And to scroll down through it reminds me of all these names. And so it's really hard to name all of you. And so I don't want to even name one of you because I feel it's unfair to the hundreds of others. You guys are so freaking awesome in the diversity and depth and care and attention that you are doing this storytelling. And that is really what we're doing. We use dice and we use other things and other trappings, but we're doing what cavemen did with rocks and sand. We tell tales about how the stars formed and how those stars gave birth to our world, and why heroism and honesty and loyalty and love are just as important as the forming of the stars. That is the story that gets told over and over, and we're going to keep on frickin' telling it, because every time we tell it, we make tomorrow a little bit better than today. So anyone out there watching who is struggling with freaking poverty and with injustice and with discrimination and with jerks and with weather and with everything that this world is hurling at us, I reach out to you. Together, we'll make tomorrow a tiny bit better. It's not going to be all better tomorrow. But join me in that vow. We're going to make tomorrow a tiny bit better than today. In some way. And if we agree on that, the fellowship that we have is going to make a freaking difference. It's going to be the difference. But you've got to make that vow. Whatever you're struggling with, I feel for you. I reach out to you. But it's up to you. I'm over here with my own crap. And I'm going to try to make it a tiny bit better tomorrow. And there's some people who are going to have a harder time and some are going to have an easier time, but we're all going to do the same mission, which is make tomorrow a tiny bit better than today in some way. That's maybe bigger than the context of the reason that we're here together tonight. But that is the context of being human. That's what we're going to do. I hope that you'll join me doing that. And I hope I'm up to the challenge of doing that. I hope you are too. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Strength, honor, and beer. This is Runehammer.